Mom's scream cut straight through the quiet like a blade. I still remember the way the phone trembled in her hand, her knuckles white, her breath catching between words. Mark's been arrested. The feds, they dragged him out of the house like a criminal. For a second, the room tilted. The lamp hummed. Dust floated in a slow mocking drift. And I felt it. The twist of something dark, familiar, not shock, recognition. This was the moment I had been waiting for. But I didn't tell her that. Not yet. I just stood there steady while the illusion my family worshipped finally cracked open, and as Mom sobbed, repeating his name like a prayer, I whispered the thought that had lived in me for months. Good. Let him burn. Mark wasn't always the family's golden boy. He earned the title over years. Charm polished to a shine, easy smiles, handshakes that made strangers feel chosen. He walked into every room like he owned the oxygen. Andy stupidly admired him for it. Hemorrhaged my sister when I was 20. I remember the first dinner, how Hess slapped my back, laughed too loud, and called my job at the archives cute, dusty, boring beneath him. He said it with a grin. I took it as a joke. Is howln't have. But back then, he was Astery the whole family loved. Self-made, brilliant, untouchable, the kind of man who kissed babies at parties and remembered everyone's birthdays. I wanted to believe he was good for my sister, for us. I didn't know that beneath the charm was a rot no one else bothered to smell. It began with his phone left on my parents' counter one Christmas. An accident, he claimed later. A slip. But I saw the notification he didn't want anyone to see. A message from a woman named V. Note a coworker, not a friend, something else. I didn't open it. I'm not reckless, but I watched him snatch the phone like a man grabbing evidence off a crime scene. He laughed too hard, spoke too fast, wouldn't meet my eyes. That was the moment the air changed. From then on, the signs came quiet but steady. Late nights, business trips that didn't match his calendar. My sister's shallow smile, one she didn't know she was wearing. Everyone else saw brilliance. I saw patterns, and patterns always tell the truth. The confirmation came disguised as routine. A box delivered to my place by mistake. Inside were documents, contracts, transactions, digital ledgers he must have thought noon would ever read. But I read them line by line. It wasn't an affair. It was worse. Shell companies, fraud, laundering, names that didn't belong to him, a trail he had buried under arrogance. I felt something inside me settle. Not anger, not heartbreak, purpose. If he wanted to mock my dusty job, he should have remembered one thing. I know how to track history, especially the kind people try to erase. I didn't confront him. People like Mark crumble only when they think they're safe. So I smiled at holidays. I clapped when he bragged. I let him believe he owned the narrative. Meanwhile, I collected everything. Dates, transactions, emails reconstructed from a metadata he didn't understand. Photos, witnesses who didn't know they were witnesses. I moved quietly, methodically. No wasted steps, no emotional fingerprints. And when I finally organized it all, I forwarded the entire package to 3 places. 1. A federal agent specializing in white-collar crime. 2. My sister. 3. Mark himself. His email bounced back. He had blocked me. Arrogance always makes things easier. The agents knocked on their door at 6:14 a.m. I know because it timed my drive to pass the street right then. He stood in the doorway barefoot, stunned, still half-constructed in his own legend. Reality hit him in the form of cold metal around his wrists. Hess shouted, protested, tried to charm. They didn't care. My sister stood behind him, hair messy, eyes wide, holding the printed documents I'd sent her. She didn't look at me as I rolled past, but she didn't look at him either. That was enough. He finally called me 3 days later from jail, voice cracking, begging, asking who had done this. I let silence answer first, then I said only someone with a dusty job. He broke. I didn't. Now the family knows who Hiralai was. Now my sister is free. Now Mom understands why my voice didn't shake that morning. I didn't do it out of revenge alone. I did it for justice. Slow, surgical, deserved. Funny thing about dust. People think it means neglect, but dust remembers. Dust holds history. And in the end, dust buried their golden boy.